7 Keys to Kicking Butt. Leadership for Women. Managing Change in a Turbulent World. One of the frustrations of women in business is trying to fit ourselves into the established and regimented masculine system of how to do business. Women's natural way of managing is much better, but is being suppressed by the male power system. This leaves women yearning to feel the spiritual part of themselves, to live a deeper, more meaningful life. This inability to do it working within the masculine system leaves women feeling stressed, depressed, and even lonely. Let me tell you a powerful story about a group of 12 women who threw out the rule book about the right way to do things, the masculine business way, and created an award-winning tourist attraction in such a short time frame that all of the men said it was impossible to do it. We had a 20% unemployment rate in our poor rural county in northern Minnesota. Our dream was to build a village out in the forest where each building would represent a handcraft: pottery, woodworking, stained glass, candle dipping, etc. It would be a tourist attraction for the area, would employ people, and would create a marketplace for the wonderful handcrafts made in the area. Now, we were just ordinary women, teachers and nurses and community volunteers who knew nothing of what we were going to be attempting to do. But we had a dream and went for it. We bought 67 acres of wilderness that had no infrastructure. We had to build a road, bring in electricity, dig a septic system, drill a well, build 8 cottages and a restaurant, hire and train 60 people to work in the shops, and find 200 crafters who did high-quality work. And we had to create an inventory system and then display the goods in the shops. And we did all of that from the day we broke ground to the day we opened in an impossible 5 weeks and 5 days. Now here's the thing. As women, we weren't part of the good old boy network. We didn't know the right way, the masculine system of power. So we created our own ways. I'm firmly convinced that if we had done this project the way men manage things, it would never have gotten done in that short amount of time. But we were women and created whole new ways of working fast, nurturing employees, etc. I teach those systems in my 7 Keys to Kicking Butt Leadership for Women classes and courses. Would you like to know my insider secrets of how I went from 8 years in a 2-room grade school in a poor rural town and graduated from a tiny high school in a class of only 15, and yet went from that limited beginning to being inducted into the Minnesota Women Business Owners Hall of Fame? Now, I tell you that not to brag, but to emphasize that women put their own limitations on themselves. I became a serial entrepreneur. Because I had no business training, I developed innovative systems for running my businesses, teaching myself things that they don't teach you in business school, and developing a female way of running businesses, rather than blindly following the masculine way. How do I know your fears? I started 2 businesses, one in my basement that grew to selling to 6,000 stores. The other was a tourist attraction that had 100,000 visitors every year. I had 145 employees to manage. My business also had recession ups and downs. So I totally understand the fears and frustrations you face because I walked the same walk you're on. I can guide you through those frustrations because there hasn't been much that I haven't gone through and survived, both in business and personally. Needing to create a strong team around me, hiring and firing problems, dealing with competitors swiping my best ideas, losing my business in a fire one hot August night, and even watching a business slowly shrink during an economic downturn. During those tumultuous times created by outside forces, I was also going through a divorce, raising 2 small children on my own, dealing with a flooded home filled with dangerous mold, and recovering from a traumatic brain injury. Yet the systems I developed for dealing with all those things kept me centered and able to cope. I want to help you to cope with this fast-moving world by sharing the innovations I taught myself that worked beautifully in my 2 businesses and in my life. I want to invite you to a free webinar I'm giving on my 7 Keys system, where you'll learn more information that you can use immediately about the joys and practicalities of using a more feminine system. You'll have a choice of 2 dates for the webinar. The first is Thursday, October 3rd at 7:30 p.m., and the second is Saturday, October 5th at 7 p.m. The link to register for this webinar is in the original email that I sent you.